All right, in this lesson, part 2, solving equations. This time, instead of solving exponentials with powers of variables, we are now going to solve equations that will either have logs or ln's in them. So on our first example, you're going to notice that for this row, we have log base 6, and then inside the parentheses we have 3x minus 1 equals 5. Okay, if we have a log in the problem or an L in the problem, the only way that we are allowed to get rid of a log or an ln is we have to rewrite. So we're going to end up rewriting the equation into exponential form. So at the top of the notes here, I'm going to go ahead and write down, if you don't remember from our first lesson in the unit, log form was log base b of y equals x, which is the form that the equations currently look like. And what we want to do is we want to take it from that form and we want to rewrite it into exponential form, which looks like y equals b raised to the power of x. That way there is no longer a log in the question. Okay, so if you look at the current log form, the little bitty number below the log, the 6, that is in the letter B spot. That's your base. So I'm going to put a little B down here next to it. So that's your B. And then this whole thing that's in the parentheses, that comes after the log. So that's going to be in the letter Y. So up here, I'm just going to put a Y next to it. And then after the equal sign over here on the right side, that is going to be the letter X. So now, since I've identified what is in each letter in the log equation, now we're going to come over here and we're going to rewrite it into exponential. So it says y, which y is our 3x minus 1, equals b, which is the base. The base is 6 raised to the x, so the power is going to be the 5. Okay, and then on my calculator, I would do 6 caret key 5. So then I would have 3x minus 1 equals, and then if you go 6 caret key 5, you would get 7,776. And then we just solve this like a normal equation. So we'll add 1. And then we get 3x equals 7,777. Divide by 3. And we come up with x equals 2,592.3 repeating. And we're done. Okay, for the ln, the next one. For the ln, you have to remember that ln, the base is never listed for the ln. So what is the base for ln? Well, the base is always the letter E. So they will never put that there, but you must remember it. So I'm going to kind of draw that in for you here. So I'll put the little E there because that's our base. So then when I rewrite this, you'll have to know that the E is the B spot. Everything that comes in the parentheses is going to be in the Y spot. And over here on the right side of the equal sign is in the X spot. So then when I rewrite this, I would say 2x plus 3 equals E. Whoops, sorry. e raised to the 4th power. Okay, and then on your calculator, you'll want to do e to the 4th power. So remember, to get e, you'll have to do second ln, and then your e should pop up on your calculator when you do that. So remember, oops, sorry, getting the calculator out here. So on your calculator, you would do second ln, and then e pops up, and you type in 4. So I would have 2x plus 3 equals 54. And then I'm going to go out 3 decimals again. So if I can get my pen to work here, sorry. Come on, pen. So hold on. My pen is having a delay here. There we go. So 54.598. And now if we solve that normally, we're going to subtract 3. So then I would get 2x equals 51.598. And then if you divide by 2, you're going to come up with x to equal 25.799. See if I can write that as a better 4 there. So like I said, the hardest part about this one that has the ln is you just have to remember that the base for ln is never listed and that the base is always the letter e. Okay, now when we get to C and D, you're going to notice instead of just having a single log or a single ln, we have 2 ln's or 2 logs on the same side. So we have to do a step before we can rewrite. So on this one, if you have multiple logs or multiple ln's on the same side, you want to condense first before you rewrite. Okay, so you got to remember our log properties we talked about in the lesson before this one. So any numbers in front of the log get to be moved up as a power. So I will have log x squared minus log 3 equals 2. And then if you see subtraction, remember subtraction changes to division. So log x squared divided by 3 equals 2. And once you have it to a single log, then you can now work on what we did in the previous problems, which is rewrite into exponential form. Now this one, the log doesn't have a base number listed, and if the base number is not listed for log, then that means the base number is 10. So I'm just going to go up here and put in a magic little 10. Okay, so y is the big part that comes after the log. So that's going to be x squared over 3 equals base. Base is 10. Raised to the x, which x is over on the right side of the equal sign, which would be our 2. Okay, so then 10 squared is 100. So x squared over 3 equals 100. And then to get rid of the dividing by 3, I would multiply both sides by 3. So x squared equals 300. And then to get from x squared down to just x, I would take the square root of both sides, and then I would get x equals 17.321. Now, here's something that we need to make sure that we discuss that you should know from previous things. Okay, normally whenever we take a square root, we're always like, oh, when you take a square root, you have to have, and I'll come up here to the top where I have a little bit more space to write. Whenever you take the square root, you have to put the symbols plus or minus in front of your answer. Okay, so why did I not put plus or minus in front of my answer? Okay, so here's the reason why. If I went back to check my answer, okay, so if you picked up your calculator right now and if you did the log of any negative number you want, so if I said log of -5, so if I picked up my calculator and I hit the log button and I type in -5, then my calculator will say error. It'll say not possible, cannot do that. Okay, so moral of the story is we didn't write the plus or minus down here with our answer because when I come back up here, if I was to type this in and check it, then it would give me an error. So I can do it officially here so that you can see it for the long way. But let's see if I can get my calculator. So hold on here. Let's go to my calculator screen and see if it'll show up here. Trying to get it to pop up, but oh, it'll take a second to load. Sorry, I should have already had this loaded up. That is my mistake, so bear with me for a minute while it's loading. Okay, so if I went to the original problem, it has 2, and then I did log, and then if I typed in a -17.321 minus log 3, and I hit enter, you will see that my calculator says error. It says it does not work out, so I cannot get it to equal 2, which is on the right side, so that is why I did not worry about the plus or minus. But I did want to go over that and make sure that you were okay with knowing that, because you do have to check these. Anytime you have a negative answer with the logs or the ln part here, you do have to go through and kind of check it and make sure and see if it gives you error or see if it works. Okay, on the next one, I would start by condensing this one. So I don't see any numbers in front, so no powers. I see a plus. Plus is going to change to multiplication. So ln and x times 4 is 4x equals 6. And then I'm going to rewrite. And remember, the base for ln is always the letter E. And now if I rewrite this, I would have 4x for the y equals the base, which is the letter E, raised to the x, which is 6. So now on my calculator, remember to get E, you would do second to ln. So 4x equals 403.429. Sorry, that doesn't look like a very good 403. Okay, and then you just divide that out, and then if I divide it out, I get x equals 100.857. All right, now if I scroll down below, what makes these problems different is you're going to notice that you will have a log or an ln on both sides of the equation. So for this problem, I have one log on the left and one log on the right. If you have one on each side, then they just cancel each other out. So then you can just go to 3x minus 14 equals 5x plus 40. And now solve this like a regular equation. So I'm going to subtract my 5x over here, which will give me negative 2x. And then I want to have my plain number on the other side, so I'm going to add the 14 over, which will give me positive 54. And then if I divide this, I will get x equals negative 27. Oh no, I got a negative answer and my problem originally had a log in the starting. So if your problem originally starts with log in the problem and you got a negative answer, you must check it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my calculator here. So let's clear this out. Okay, so I'm going to go log, and then I'm going to open my parentheses opens here. I'm going to go 3 times negative 27 minus 14, close my parentheses, equals. And my calculator says error. So since my calculator says error, that means that this answer is not acceptable. So since this answer does not work, then I am going to say no solution, because whenever I checked it, I could not get, I could not get my calculator to give me an answer. It said error. So since it gave me an error on one side, then I couldn't work it out to see if the other side equaled anything. So no solution. So remember, if your problem originally starts with a log or ln in it and you get a negative number, you must go back and check it. Sometimes it may work. I'm not going to say that it always fails. Just depends on what the numbers are up here in the equations. It may or it may not work, but it is required that you check it. If it's a positive number, you don't have to check it because it should work. Okay. Now, the next one, this one we've added another step in here because you will notice that, oh no, I have 2 ln's on one side. Okay, they will only cross off if you have 1 ln on the left and 1 ln on the right. So I need you to condense the side that has 2 ln's first. Before you can try to slice them off, I need you to condense. So here I would see subtraction. So subtraction is going to change to division. And once you do that, then you will be like, oh, I have 1 ln on the right and the left. So now they will cross each other off. So now I can solve this normally. So to get rid of a dividing by x, I'm going to multiply both sides by x. So then I have 8 equals 2x, and if I divide, I get x to equal 4. And this is a positive answer, so I don't have to worry about checking it, so I am done. So just remember on problems like this, if you have 2 ln's or 2 logs on the same side, condense it first, and then if you have 1 ln or 1 log on each side, then you can cross them off. All right, thanks.